To start off program 2, intermediate strength, we will begin with a deadlift hold, pushing to toes. In this variation of the deadlift, we're going to use a stick or dowel to prepare us for load-bearing exercise in the future. To set up, you will start with feet shoulder width apart, having a slight bend in the knees, tucking your pelvis, and a nice proud chest. To initiate the movement, you're going to bring your hips back, keeping the dowel close to your legs, making sure you have a nice neutral spine and your head is looking down. Coming up from the movement, initiate from the hips, squeeze your glutes, and come up onto your toes. For hand width, we want it about 1 thumb width away from the thighs, elbows locked. Now it's your turn. Complete 6 reps, hold 5 seconds at the bottom, and remember your cues. For exercise 2, we are doing a weighted deadlift with resistance band or a bag. This is the same movement pattern as the previous exercise, but now we are adding resistance. To set up for this exercise, you're going to step on the band with feet shoulder width apart. To change how much resistance the band is giving you, you can move your hands up or down. As you go through the movement, ensure that your hands drag up your legs and avoid bending your elbows as shown here. Instead, we want to have our elbows straight as you go through. As you go through the movement, avoid rounding your back as shown here. Instead, we want to maintain a neutral spine. Alternatively, if you don't have a resistance band, you can use a backpack with books for weight, making sure that you keep the bag close to your body. Now it's your turn. Complete 8 to 12 reps using a band or a bag, and remember your cues. Next up is a straight arm pull in hinge hold with high tubing. For this exercise, we want the tubing high, placed above your head. You'll see that we place it with a carabiner, but doing it at home, you can use the top of your door. Again, we're going to place the laces around the tubing, and this time we're throwing the shoe above the door. As you go through the movement, you want to squeeze your shoulder blades together and open your chest. Like the last exercise, we want to avoid bending the elbows as shown here. Instead, we want to keep them locked. Avoid reaching your hands too far back past your hips, and instead stop at your hips in line with your spine. Now it's your turn. Complete 6 reps, maintain that hinge hold, and remember your cues. We'll finish up set A with a single arm shoulder press in half kneeling with low tubing. For this exercise, we have the tubing in a low position. For us, that's attached to a carabiner on a wall, but for you at home, that could be under a door. If you're using your right arm, your right leg will be in front in the half kneeling position. You're going to wrap the tubing around your hand, doing more or less to provide more or less resistance. You're going to put your hand in that W position by your ears, pushing straight up towards the ceiling. In the half kneeling position, ensure that you're not leaning too far forward or too far backwards. Make sure your pelvis is tucked and your abdominals are engaged. Ensure your knee doesn't fall in, and we want it in line with your toes. Don't push too far forward or too far backwards. We want to come straight up in line with your ears. Now it's your turn. Complete 6 reps per side, maintain kneeling position, and remember your cues. To start set B, we're going to start with a weighted goblet squat with a backpack or a band. The squat position is marked by your hips coming down and back and your knees driving forward. Putting the weight in front of you, keep it close to your chest and your shoulders back. Avoid coming onto your toes and make sure your heels stay flat on the ground. As an alternative to the backpack, you can also use tubing, placing it under your feet. Now it's your turn. Complete 8 to 12 reps, add weight with a bag or a band, and remember your cues. Next exercise is a reverse pivot to forward drive step. You'll set up for this exercise in a mini squat position and your chest up. As you pivot 45 degrees, make sure the knee doesn't fall in and it stays in line with your toes. Making sure that foot doesn't touch the ground, we're pushing off the stance leg. All of your power is driving from the stance leg. Step 1, 2 in your finishing stance. Now it's your turn. Complete 6 reps per side, maintain the squat position throughout, and remember your cues. Next up is a single arm row and T-spine rotation in squat hold with mid-tubing. Similar to the other exercises in this set, you'll be maintaining a squat position throughout. For this exercise, you're going to place the tubing at about waist height. As with previous exercises, you can either place the tubing with a carabiner against a wall or using the door handle. As you go through the movement, ensure that your elbow doesn't go past your torso and stays in line with it. To initiate the row, squeeze your shoulder blade down and back. As you rotate, avoid arching your back and flaring your ribs. Instead, focus on engaging your abdominals and achieving a small rotation. With this exercise, your hips don't move, and your knees should stay over your toes. Now it's your turn. Complete 6 to 8 reps per side, maintain a squat hold, and remember your cues. Last exercise in this program are push-ups. It sounds simple, but a proper push-up takes several mindful cues. We'll begin by relaxing our shoulders and making sure they stay away from your ears throughout the movement. As you set up, avoid letting your hips sag or angle up towards the ceiling. Instead, engage your abdominals and keep a neutral spine. Alternatively, you can do this exercise from your knees. All cues will remain the same. Now it's your turn. Complete 8 to 12 reps, modify as needed, and remember your cues. Congratulations on finishing Program 2, Intermediate Strength. To get the most out of this program, complete each set 4 times. To continue building your strength, complete this program 2 to 3 times a week. And remember to check out our stretching program for an active cooldown.